Tomorrow is the day we're gonna cut hay. I think it says sunshine for 6 days. Haven't seen that all year. I'll do a little review. This Krone mower. It is a, I think it's a 3210, of course. Don't know how that happens. I didn't do it. But anyways, 3210, center pivot, 10-foot cut. I'm gonna tell you why you should buy this thing. I'm a believer that it is one of the best mowers you can get for a pull behind. 2-point hitch. I thought maybe it'd be nice to have a truck or I don't know, a drawbar hitch, but then again, so you can pull it with a truck. But then again, this is so easy to hook up with a quick hitch. I mean, you back up to it and boom, you're done. It's got the gearbox there like all the new mowers. The dry shaft runs in the beam, nothing exposed. Just look how heavy duty this thing is. I mean, this is some heavy duty metal. It's a 2015 model. I've had it for a couple years. Run a lot of hay through it. I have busted a couple gear, or whatever, safe cut heads where they shear the roll pin. We've did a lot of triticale that was drilled in the spring and didn't get rolled, had a lot of rocks in the field. Then every once in a while you just hit stuff. The roll conditioners look great. I mean, we put sorghum Sudan grass, triticale, a lot of alfalfa, a lot of acres on this machine in the 2 years I've ran it. But we try to take care of it, try to wash it, try to keep it waxed. It's got the fold-up curtains, which is nice for going down the road. And what I like about this thing, we had a New Holland that we were using, 10-foot. It was a side pivot, but we were all the time going through tightening the cutter bar up. The cutter bar was bolted together in sections. Well, those bolts stretch, come loose, and then they flex, and then they fall apart. And then we had issues with dirt getting in the bearings. It's just not a sealed unit, not a very strong unit. I mean, this thing here is a one-piece cutter bar. Pretty much why I bought it. And the safe cut, which unfortunately we've got to use, but I can change that out in about 10-15 minutes now that I know what I'm doing. But this is one bad boy. I love it. I think anybody that has it will want it. It lays an awesome windrow. It was muddy last time we cut, so we did a real narrow windrow for the chopper to get the ground dry from the sun as quick as possible. We're more worried about the ground than the crop at that cutting. But yeah, just look at the size of this gearbox. I mean, this stuff it's massive. You're not gonna tear this thing up. The main frame, no issues whatsoever. I don't think you'll ever have an issue. I think it's got a little attachment there if you wanted to put a conveyor on the back. Now, have I had any issues? Yeah. Anything major? Not really. This bar here should have a shield over it, but I've left it off on purpose. But this bar broke. The new one was heavier duty and thicker, so hopefully that won't break. But that holds the whole gearbox basically up. That still doesn't look as beefy as it should. So when that happened, it allowed this thing here to come unaligned, and then I think I ran that broke for so long on the outdated piece that it cracked the plate below where this gearbox bolts to the cutter bar. So that failed first, which in turn caused the bracket on below to fail. But I didn't notice it till the end of the year when we were cleaning the machine, and I didn't notice it until I took the shield off, which was packed full. So I left that off because I don't like how it gets packed full of dirt, and if something breaks, I can see it. Right here is your, I don't know if you can see it, your spring tension for your rollers. So there's your spring, there's your bolt right there. You just adjust your roller tension, and you can see how it pivots right here. Your roller, your roller here, and that's how it pivots. And you got a universal joint, so which allows that motion to flex. It's pretty tight. It does an awesome job. Awesome job. Now, little things here. Crack here on this shrouding, and believe it or not, it cracked right when I got it. I complained. The dealer replaced it under warranty at the end of the season. The cracks got pretty big. It even cracked in some other places. So they replaced that center piece, and you can tell cracking here and cracking there. It's only continuing to get worse. Even though I welded it, it cracked around the weld. It also cracked down here, and now it's cracking there. So should Krone replace that? Yeah. Should they maybe come up with an update? Yeah. Are they going to? Probably not. Am I going to buy another Krone mower? Well, I really like that new TC500, but I've yet to get a demo, so we'll see. The 400 and 500 model, but this thing, the cutter bar is what you're buying, and the heavy dutiness of the frame. Like any piece of equipment, some of them have the drawbacks. The drawback to this is really minor, some of that cosmetic cracking, which I don't agree with, but whatever. But the cut on this thing is phenomenal. I mean, if it's thin crop, it just cuts it. And then I don't have high clearance shoes on it, but basically this is how you adjust your height when it's, well, I'm American, but it seems backwards to me. But anyways, you adjust that in. If you bring this forward, that's shorter, and basically there's your little lock pin, and that's all the way up. Now, it won't cut very good. Like when we're cutting triticale and wheat, actually we cut a lot of wheat. I tried to cut the stubble higher, and you can only get about halfway here because you change the pitch of your mower. It cuts best with a slight forward, not too much, but just a slight forward like that. And when you get level, it still cuts good, but when you start to get like that, it don't want to cut very good. So that's where you need the high clearance shoes. I'm not an engineer, but it is not the easiest procedure to put those on. You kind of got to hold them up there with one hand, and then get a jack under it or something to block, come around the back, put 2 bolts in, and it's not the easiest. I don't know if I can show you. So underneath here, those are the standard clearance. We'll see that slot in the front, right, see, where is that? Right there. Your high clearance shoe has a tab that slides in that slot, and then you have to hold it back here and remove a couple bolts. Let's see here. You have to remove that bolt and place a spacer bar and go through and attach your high clearance. But it's not impossible, but it's just not as easy as it should be. So you can tell underneath, you can tell where the hay is rubbing. You can tell it's throwing it up and hitting it here pretty good. You can see the pattern of where it comes out at. Now, it's also hitting this deflector. This thing lays a very beautiful windrow, very beautiful. Now, some of the New Hollands, or Case IH or whatever, and I think even the new Crone, you can adjust the rear baffle. It has an adjustment, so you can adjust your width of your windrow like I can here, but you can also adjust the rear plate. I don't know the advantages or disadvantages. This one kind of throws it, it hits that top plate and then throws it obviously down with the curvature of that shrouding. So I know the New Holland we can open up and it throws it straight out the back and lays it nice, wide. It might lay it a little bit wider than what you can with this, but that's I don't know, that's one little drawback. I like having the windrows. It does a lot better job for mowing straight because you can straddle it. But it's pretty wide. It's as wide as this tractor sets, and we got it not super duper wide, but we got it about 8 foot, you know, so it lays it as wide as that, wide enough. All right, should you buy a Krone mower? I'm telling you, you will not find any mower that cuts better than a Krone. They have got that cutting bar, they have got it figured out more than any company out there. Now, is that right for you? That depends. They're not a very big company here in America, so dealers, parts, that could be an issue if you don't have a dealer close by. But one good thing here, I'm in Indiana. The distribution place is in Memphis, Tennessee. It is moving to Shelbyville, I heard, Indiana. And I typically, if I need a part, I call the dealer. If I need blades, call him up. I get them next day in my mail. I don't have to drive nowhere. Shipping's reasonable. I mean, they are quick on getting the parts out. So if that doesn't concern you about whether you should get one or not, I can't say that I'm dissatisfied with anything on the mower. It does have some issues that I pointed out with the shrouding, but man, it's an awesome cut. Awesome cut. It pulls down the road. It works as it should.